that a lot of people don't understand. Small चीज़ है बहुत ही कि patience and perseverance कि आप अच्छे से search कर पाओ and figure out कर पाओ कि इस line में क्या हो रहा है, इस line में क्या हो रहा है, इस line में क्या हो रहा है. बस मैं वो attitude develop कराती हूँ. आप वो attitude develop कर लो तो हो जाता है.
तो language तो आप कोई भी या tech तो कोई भी सीख सकते.
क्योंकि किसी को भी सब कुछ नहीं आता.
Correct, true.
No CTO, no manager, no one knows everything. Everyone is learning.
Yeah, because I think it's all about the attention game today, right?
Exactly.
Because how do you gain the attention when there is a line of people with almost similar capabilities? The delta is very low, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
If someone is targeting a high-paying job,
Yeah.
obviously focus on technical skills because the competition is ever as high as it could be, and it does really make a lot of difference if you are just going out of your area and doing some more technical skills. But at the same time, it's very important that you also learn how to.
Software engineers, one major thing is कि you should be confident enough कि यार we'll figure this out. क्योंकि हम ऐसा कुछ एकदम scratch से नहीं बना रहे हैं. मतलब it is not something that people have not done earlier, right? I don't think people at high-paying jobs also बहुत ही कम लोग होते हैं जो.
If you want to learn coding, then I think Python is the best one to start with.
Okay.
मतलब अगर बस ये सीखना है कि how to write a loop या how to solve a problem, how to build chess game या फिर how to build a calculator. Python is the easiest. I didn't tell my manager कि I'm working on a startup. उनको पता था algo prep का. Then he asked me like, is it taking up a lot of your time? And I told him कि नहीं, that is not taking up a lot of my time. And I just said कि I need a week to think about it.
ठीक है.
And yeah, I'll get back to you. And then I resigned.
You never got back. What is the highest salary figure you have heard of from any of your friends, colleagues, bosses, or anybody you have worked with? करोड़ों में ही होगी, I know. Hello everyone and welcome to yet another episode of the Dhairya Decodes Podcast. It is a one of a kind this time because I don't have just one, not two, but three guests with me. And this is going to be a very interesting and insightful roundtable podcast conversation with three tech content creators. Let me start with introducing all of them to you very quickly. The first guest on the Dhairya Decodes Podcast today is Nishant Chahar. He is the founder at AlgoPrep and Tayyari, and he is an ex-Microsoft software engineer and a YouTuber with over 350k plus subscribers, also a LinkedIn content creator. And we're going to be knowing a lot more about his career journey today. The second guest on the podcast is Keerti Purswani. She is the founder of Educosys. She has worked at companies like Intuit and Atlassian as a software engineer. She's also a LinkedIn top voice and a YouTuber with over 120k plus subscribers. We have Khushboo Verma joining us as the third guest, and she is currently working at Appwrite as an engineer. She's also worked at Adobe and at Microsoft previously. She has over 140k plus followers on Twitter and close to about 120k followers on LinkedIn. All three of them are in the tech ecosystem and space based out of Bangalore, and we are going to be jamming on a lot of things around tech careers, starting up, what does it really take to break through top high paying roles at the top tech MNCs and a lot more. So without any further ado, let's get started with this episode. Welcome to the Dhairya Decodes Podcast, Nishant, Keerti and Khushboo.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. So I think I want all of us to obviously share everything that there is about not just your journey and everything that I'm going to ask you, but I think the idea, just to let you know, is to help people who are aspiring to do things like all three of you to understand what does it take in terms of a roadmap to break through and reach where you guys are, right? Because it's a career specific podcast. We want to reach out to students and working professionals who want to tread a similar career path, right? And you might think that somebody's childhood is not as important, but मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो भी इंसान जिंदगी में करता है, by the end, like wherever we are right now, is deeply rooted to the values, the kind of family background and ecosystem you come from when you connect the dots. So I always ask this to most of my guests when we start the conversation. I want to know a little bit about all of your childhood background. What kind of a family were you born and brought up in? What kind of an influence did your parents' professions or the environment you were in have on you? Because it impacts you and subconsciously you make decisions about मुझे ये बनना है आगे जाके. So if you can share a little bit about that and how you were basically molded into thinking of a certain way because of the family background and your childhood.
Okay. Yes. So I guess we're starting from me. So I think मेरे जो core values है have come from my father की extreme hard work and honesty. I think that comes from my father. He was a director in BHL, which is amazing, and I've seen him work extremely hard throughout.
You said BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electrical
Yes.
Achha,
So
amazing.
he is awesome.
Yeah.
And he is very good with communications and, software skills and all that. So I have learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
But there are a few things which I have, also developed myself. Like, for example, because parents are from government job.
Yeah.
So उनको थोड़ा सा रहता है कि हम लोग safe खेले, right?
Correct.
And one job throughout their career.
Right.
Versus जब मैंने अपनी पहली job छोड़ी थी, and that was within 1 year, so there was a lot of कि अब क्या पागल हो गई है. There's also a gap between the generations, right? So वो जो होता है कि बहुत ही courage से कोई भी step लेने वाला, and I think that somehow मुझे मेरे भाई से आया because he is very extremely courageous. So I think I have learned from him. तो ऐसे I think it's a mixture of things. In the end, I think you decide कि आपको अपना career कैसे जीना है या आप किस टाइप की लाइफ चाहते हो, राइट? व्हाट काइंड ऑफ लाइफ यू मैनिफेस्ट फॉर. तो आई थिंक इट इज अ मिक्सचर ऑफ थिंग्स दैट यू लर्न फ्रॉम, एंड ऑब्वियसली कॉलेज एंड स्कूल एंड सब कुछ का थोड़ा तो रहता ही है. कॉलेज में I was always the only female, the only North Indian, because I studied in ITC. So I'm used to being the odd one out, or used to being the different one in the room. तो I think वो अपने आप courage build up हो गया.
But बचपन में क्या बनना था कीर्ति को?
But I didn't know. I really had no idea कि मेरे को क्या करना है. I just knew कि मुझे मैथ्स पसंद है. That's why when I somehow found something that I really like and found that okay, इससे earning कमाई जा सकती है, decent. Then I was like not letting this go. For the first time I feel like कि हाँ, I like this. I genuinely like it. So that's why I never let it go. Even though from electrical background, even though everyone was like कि what is she doing? She has no degree, nothing. Why is she switching to a startup? But then I was like कि इसमें मजा आ रहा है. But not letting it go. And I don't think I have seen an example of that before. But somehow, the inner self tells you.
Tells you
हाँ, ये करना है.
Nice. What about Nishant?
So my parents, like my mom is a housewife. So and my father is from a government job. He is in Delhi Police actually. So he's like the family was always government job kar lo, but you have to go for private. Engineering की करनी है, go for BSc. And I was like, I want to do engineering because I just wanted to like do it. I was like Python was there in my 11th 12th class, and before that I had computer science in 9th 10th as well. So it was like कि हाँ, I have a basic interest, and also like there were high paying jobs in computer science. So I was like कि ठीक है.
But आपने अपने आसपास family में या relatives में किसी को नहीं देखा था who was doing a software engineering job?
No private job in my like whole family. Mother side, father side, कोई भी नहीं है. Everyone is in a government job or like software का तो नाम ही नहीं पता था.
So you didn't consider doing a government job even once?
I never wanted to because I have been seeing everyone doing that, and I wanted. तो
clarity थी कि वो नहीं करना.
I wanted to do something else only.
And YouTube तो कभी नहीं सुना होगा. That is same for all.
Content creation and everything was just out of the blue कि बस ऐसे ही try किया, because I always like trying things out कि कर लो try, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, like you only live once.
Correct.
And if you don't try, then you'll have regret once you
for the rest of your life. So
I just try out things, and sometimes something like clicks off, and sometimes it doesn't, so it's fine.
Got it. Nice. What about you, Khushboo?
So for me, while growing up, my parents and grandparents were very strict about studies because they were like कि school रोज जाना है, पढ़ना अच्छे से. So I always used to be a topper in the class. So I used to enjoy studying. I used to enjoy going to school as well. But I wasn't sure about becoming an engineer at all. I used to hate maths. And I actually was not sure if I want to be an engineer or a doctor, so I gave both NEET and JEE at that time. And for some reason it happened that I gave first round of NEET, and I wanted to appear for it again because I was like, I'm not satisfied with my performance. And it was like, if you apply for the second time, you can't, your first one is nullified.
Your first score is
nullified. And I felt sick on that day. I got admitted to the hospital and I was not able to make it. So the other option left was engineering. My father wanted me to be a CS engineer only because I don't know, he had some vision that I want her to be able to work from anywhere in the world. Us time we didn't had the concept of remote jobs, but he somehow just felt like I want her to be able to work from anywhere with just a laptop and internet connection. So out of all the fields I had to choose CS. And then I did not like it at that point, but once I entered college, the communities played a very important role for me. My seniors were so helpful. They used to conduct sessions, so that actually gauged my interest, and that is how I became
so
a
जब
software
आपने choose
engineer.
किया, it was obviously not your choice, but you happened to like it along the way because of the support you got and the communities you were a part of. Very interesting. Amazing. So one thing that I saw in common when all the three of you obviously answered it, while it was slightly different when it came to Keerti and Nishant, I think both of you saw your parents do something and you obviously appreciated and respected the fact that they were doing those jobs, but you had that clarity that I don't see myself being there and doing that. So you chose a different way. Whereas probably Khushboo was somebody wherein your father gave you a direction, you probably didn't know if that's the right thing to do, but you've ended up liking doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So my next question to this, and because we just spoke of this point, is मुझे ये जानना है कि जब career choice की बात आती है and when it comes to choosing what do you want to do in life, and बचपन से सब पूछते हैं यार करना क्या है लाइफ में, बनना क्या है लाइफ में, aim क्या है लाइफ का, तो I want to know when that decision making point came for you in terms of actually choosing which company to go to, which do you want to leave your job and do something of your own, those crucial points when it came in your journeys. How much of that decision was made with confidence? Because kya hota, I'll tell you, when I'm a career coach and I speak to students from all professions and working professionals with 10-15 years of experience, one common thing irrespective of the age group is nobody is sure if what they have done is going to turn out for the good or the bad. When you make a decision, it could go down ways or it could go well, right? Like recently I spoke to somebody who left his 15-year software engineering job to get into consulting. And that's a big risk to take. You've spent 15 years in the industry, you're a seasoned professional. So I want to know, जब आप career choices लेते हो, आपको society, आपके friends, colleagues बोल रहे हैं, ये कर लो, वो भी कर लो, how do you stay firm and put to your decision in careers when it comes to the career context? Let's start with you.
For me, I think it happened when I was leaving Microsoft and joining a very early stage startup. So it was a big bet. Yeah, for sure. And my mother was like, why do you want to leave Microsoft? इतना अच्छा office है, खाना भी देते हैं, गाड़ी भी देते हैं, सब अच्छा है, तो why do you want to leave? And I'm like, I want to explore other options. And she was like, if you want to do it, then it's your career. We won't stop you. So udhar se I didn't feel any pressure as such. But I was like, I'm young. I can take risks. So let's just go for it. And it has turned out pretty well. So as you mentioned, like किसी को नहीं पता होता how a thing is going to turn out. Like they both have also taken such trajectories. And it's like जब तक आप उसमें असली में जाओगे नहीं, तब तक you won't realize if it is going to work in favor or not.
Right.
So that's.
But do you think when you made that decision and you stuck to the fact that I'll do this, even though let's say your mother or somebody else would have told you कि Microsoft जैसी company को छोड़ना may not be the right decision, did you second guess your decision at any point?
No, I think I was pretty sure about it. Okay. Because see, I think all of us are capable enough and confident in our abilities that if we want to join another MNC, we can, right?
Can always go back. True.
Yeah, so I was confident in that skill and that is why I took the leap of faith.
Nice. Great. Yes.
So मेरे में I think it has been multiple times कि ऐसा एकदम points आया. One major point was कि भाई I was electrical engineer and till the end of third year I had no idea कि even electrical people can sit for software placements. हमारे college में allowed है, I didn't even know that.
Correct.
मतलब there was no guidance, nothing. And out of the entire electrical engineering batch, I was the only one who was adamant कि I will not sit for consulting. It is there कि अगर आपका एक बार प्लेसमेंट हो जाता है तो you cannot sit for it. तो starting में there were a lot of consulting companies that come like ZS, Deloitte. So all my friends with similar circles, similar communication skills, similar societies were placed. And I was not placed for 1.5-2 months and everyone was freaking out कि ये पागल हो गया है. But then I think just 2 months of prep, really I truly felt like, you know, maybe software engineering is not for me, but I am sure कि electrical engineering is definitely not for me. So I was like कि चलो अगर नहीं भी लगती है job तो I will study for 1 year, I'll take break and maybe I'll do MBA, but I have to give myself a chance. Right. I was like in long term क्या हो जाएगा एक साल, लोग anyway IIT JEE के बाद 1 साल का break लेते हैं, right? So in my head I was like I will keep trying and I will keep trying off campus, I will keep writing exams, I will keep participating in coding challenges.
But FOMO कभी नहीं हुआ आपको कि the others your
मतलब everyone was placed, my hostel is celebrating people with
यार I can that time is very different. जब
that's
very placement लग रही होती है और आपकी नहीं लगी होती, it's not easy.
the farewells had started and
farewells had started
and everyone was like celebrating and I am sitting in my room locked up and studying and there were a lot of personal things. I had an leg operation at that time, so I could not walk properly. I'm going to give placements on using a crutch.
Yeah.
So it was very dramatic also. Very, very dramatic. But in the end, I started from a Oracle. I had cracked Oracle, which was offering 22 LPA and not cracked. I reached the last round.
Okay.
Did not clear the last round and I was like, okay, but if I can reach the last round of 22 LPA,
तो कुछ तो हो ही जाएगा.
Correct. So that was like थोड़ा सा कि ठीक है try करते रहो. But I started my career from 6 LPA, jumped 100, 150, 200% ऐसे करके and finally it worked out. But तब कभी-कभी मैं खुद ही सोचती हूँ कि कहाँ से इतना करना चाहता हूँ.
तब फ्रेंड्स का तो ठीक है, तब पेरेंट्स ने कुछ बोला था when you were very adamant कि यही करना है.
Like कि मतलब तुम क्यों नहीं बैठ रही हो मैं as I said courage I get from my brother, my भैया was like कि तुम फोन बंद कर दो, फोन मत उठाओ, I will handle them यहाँ पे.
ऐसा भाई सबको मिले.
तो मैंने थोड़े टाइम के लिए मतलब I had shut myself कि मुझे ये करना है, आती हूँ बाहर फिर बात करती हूँ ऐसा वाला.
Nice. Yes निशान बताइए.
So taking the leap of faith, वही वाली चीज़ है. I calculated the risk. If I stay at Microsoft, I'll
3 साल you worked at Microsoft almost.
Worked at Microsoft for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So even if I want to join back to Microsoft or any other company, it's not that tough. Like if I prepare for 6 months, I'll be able to crack it.
Correct.
So I thought कि ठीक है, let's give it.
But when did you decide कि छोड़ना है?
So I was working on my startup from last August September. मतलब थोड़ा कर रहे थे. And January से like it was more. Like I had to give more time, designs वगैरह करने हैं.
Demanding हो जाता.
बहुत ज़्यादा demanding हो गया था. तो then meetings, reviews, ये वो बहुत सारा time लग ही रहा था. And I was not able to give like any time to Microsoft. Enough तो नहीं बोलूँगा. I was not able to give any time to Microsoft because content plus Appwrite plus Tayyari. So it was eating up all my time. So then I decided कि it doesn't make sense. Like staying here will not give anything. फालतू में दिमाग ही खराब रहता था. Because you always have a constant pressure on your head कि यार ऑफिस का काम भी करना है, क्या नहीं भी कर रहे हो, but still you have करना है.
वो होता है that
because meetings तुम्हें join करनी पड़ती है. You have to sit through meetings. You have to like understand things क्या चल रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा. So it takes a lot of your time.
Yeah.
So then I decided कि यार ठीक है, मतलब I have to do this. I didn't tell my manager कि I'm working on a startup. उनको पता था algo prep का that I have been working on algo prep for the last 1 year. He was fine with that. He was like कि कोई problem नहीं है. Then he asked me like, is it taking up a lot of your time? And I told him कि नहीं, that is not taking up a lot of my time. And I just said कि I need a week to think about it.
ठीक है.
And I'll get back to you. And then I resigned.
You never got back. ठीक है. But again, I want to understand that when you made this decision also, was there any resistance from your parents of 3 years? Not at all?
They were supportive. Like they have always been very supportive.
ठीक है.
जब मेरे को जेई करना था, they were like कि ठीक है, कोचिंग में डाल देंगे, you study, जितना टाइम चाहिए उतना टाइम लो. When I was preparing for placements, they were always supportive. When I was like doing YouTube, they were supportive. So they have
a fair understanding of what you're trying to do and build also. No. Okay.
They don't. So they don't have any understanding of how startups work, what startup is. मतलब they one news पे.
But they know बेटा कुछ तो कर रहा है, जो सही कर रहा है.
हाँ, तो they are fine with it.
Nice, very interesting. Okay, I think no, thanks for sharing that, and I think it's lovely to also see that again the common thread is that all three of you were very confident. अपनी काबिलियत पे यार कुछ नहीं तो कुछ ना कुछ कर लेंगे.
Right.
वो कॉन्फिडेंस आने के लिए for somebody who wants a good high paying job in the tech ecosystem. Today, what do you think? I want all three of you to share what kind of a skill set, and I'm not going to ask a skill set from the tech standpoint only. I feel when a company hires an employee today, you're looking at them as an asset. An asset has to have 360-degree qualities, I feel. Which means you come with a personality, you come with a certain set of soft skills and your technical capabilities or your core skills which you need to perform at your job. So in तीनों के angle से, anybody who's watching this video who wants to crack a role at companies like Intuit, Atlassian, Microsoft, Adobe, what do you think is needed to get there?
So I think that as you start with your career, if you are an SD1, let's say in the beginning, it does not matter much like what you do at the company level. It mostly matters what you're doing at your work. So are you doing your tasks on time? Are you learning at your consistent pace? Are you able to make some impact? Okay. So it's mostly about what you are doing as an individual. But as you gain more seniority and you gain more experience, you're also supposed to make the team grow along with you. So you should also be able to help your work, help others, and also take help. And that is where communication and understanding of the team dynamics, understanding the business aspects of things, and being able to communicate, being able to show some leadership, some ownership, that really starts to make a lot of difference as you keep on gaining more experience and becoming more senior. So if someone is targeting a high paying job, obviously focus on technical skills, because the competition is ever as high as it could be, and it does really make a lot of difference if you are just going out of your area and doing some more technical skills. But at the same time, it's very important that you also learn how to work in cross functional teams, especially in today's time when we have remote jobs. It's even more difficult to communicate with people and all of that. So communication skills, leadership skills, and taking ownership and being fearless about your decisions. And especially in startups like I am in, it's like, okay, fail and then learn. So it's like, okay, have the ability to fail and then quickly learn from it. So that really matters.
Nice. Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Khushboo. Keerti?
Completely agree with her. Like communication skills, so matlab in team, in
anywhere,
everywhere, it is very important, right? Other than that, I think for software engineers, one major thing is कि you should be कॉन्फिडेंट इनफ कि यार वील फिगर दिस आउट, क्योंकि हम ऐसा कुछ एकदम स्क्रैच से नहीं बना रहे हैं. मतलब इट इज नॉट समथिंग दैट पीपल हैव नॉट डन अर्लियर, राइट? आई डोंट थिंक पीपल एट हाई पेइंग जॉब्स ऑल्सो, बहुत ही कम लोग होते हैं जो एकदम ही नई चीज लिख रहे हैं या एकदम ही लो लेवल चीज. बाकी सबने पहले ये किया हुआ है कुछ ना कुछ किसी लेवल पे. आप गूगल को अच्छे से यूज कर पाओ, चैट जीपीटी अच्छे से यूज कर पाओ, कॉन्फिडेंस रख पाओ कि कोई भी टेक हो, भले ही हमने इसको कभी देखा भी नहीं हो, भले ही वो बैक एंड हो एंड आप फ्रंट एंड इंजीनियर हो, भले ही आप वो फ्रंट एंड हो एंड आप बैक एंड इंजीनियर हो, चाहे वो डेवऑप्स हो, आपको फुल स्टैक पे ये भरोसा होना चाहिए कि मैं अगर 2 दिन ले लूँ उसके बाद आई कैन फिगर दिस आउट. इट इज जस्ट अबाउट दैट कॉन्फिडेंस कि भाई ढंग से गूगल करना आना चाहिए. दैट्स इट. If you can do that, and
मतलब anything thrown at you is something you can deal with. You have to just understand and know कि कौन से resources को कैसे utilize करना है.
The patience, the perseverance, that is the key. I think that a lot of people don't understand. स्मॉल चीज है बहुत ही कि पेशेंस एंड परसिवरेंस, कि आप अच्छे से सर्च कर पाओ एंड फिगर आउट कर पाओ कि इस लाइन में क्या हो रहा है, इस लाइन में क्या हो रहा है, इस लाइन में क्या हो रहा है. बस मैं वो एटीट्यूड डेवलप कराती हूँ. मतलब मैं जब बच्चों को पढ़ाती हूँ तो वो एटीट्यूड की बात होती है. आप वो एटीट्यूड डेवलप कर लो तो हो जाता है.
तो लैंग्वेज तो आप कोई भी या टेक तो कोई भी सीखी सकते,
क्योंकि किसी को भी सब कुछ नहीं आता.
करेक्ट.
नो सीटीओ, नो मैनेजर, नो वन नोज एवरीथिंग. एवरीवन इज लर्निंग. यू जस्ट नीड टू रियलाइज दैट एंड यू जस्ट नीड टू बी प्राउड ऑफ इट कि हाँ हम ट्राई कर रहे हैं एंड हो जाएगा. कभी कभी यू जस्ट टेक अ नैप एंड कम बैक एंड you'll be able to figure it out. It is as easy.
Good. Yes, Nishant.
So they have touched the communication wala part. So basically there are 2 types of companies that you can target. One is a startup, like a mid-sized startup or a unicorn, or a MNC.
Correct.
MNC हो गए Google, Microsoft, Atlassian, Salesforce, all these companies. So if you are someone who is just out of college and you want to target the SG1 role, you have to learn DSA. For the B category, all the MNCs. For A category, like you need to learn DSA, but not that much. Like you need to have the basic idea of what a data structure is. What is a queue, what is a stack. Basic wala idea hona chahiye. And then you need to know development. You need to know if you are applying for front end roles, you need to know front end. If you are applying for back end roles, you need to know some back end. And you should be able to like contribute from the day one when you join that startup. So these are the 2 paths one can choose if they want to like have a high paying job. That's the question you asked, right? So you have to choose the path. If you are just targeting MNCs, it might be tough because during recession, during these times, they don't have that much. Because they already have a lot of people working there.
Correct.
So they have limited their scope. But on the other hand, when you apply to startups always like want someone who can build. DSA, they will not even ask. Like the early stage startups don't ask DSA in their coding rounds. They'll ask you the questions that like if you have built something, they'll give you a task basically, and they'll ask questions on that particular task. कि ये क्या है, ये कैसे किया है, इसमें changes करके दिखा दो. They will want to know कि exactly if you are able to understand the code or not, or you have just copy pasted it from somewhere.
Correct.
So these are the things that they test. So पहले figure out which path you want to take, and then like start learning.
And आपको लगता है that I'll start with you, Nishant, मतलब just an extension to this, resume का कितना role होता है आपके हिसाब से?
Because the first step is resume.
Correct.
If your resume is not getting shortlisted, then interview होगा ही नहीं. Right. So resume, projects that you have added in your resume, if you have a portfolio and it looks good, then these are the things that
counts and it matters.
Definitely counts. Like resume तो for sure counts because that's the first step to get selected.
Right. Keerti, what do you think about, मतलब basis your experience, आपने भी obviously काफी MNCs में काम किया, we are training students also at your startup. What is your observation?
So resume तो देखो DSA, LAD, HAD, as he said, everyone can write on your resume, right? Everyone
कोई भी लिख सकता है.
मतलब क्योंकि that is the expectation, everyone will write on your resume. It is about among the thousands of applications that are coming in fact lakhs of applications that are coming in, तुम कैसे stand out करते हो? And the very basic thing is your projects. It can be your company projects, your personal projects. It can be either open source or competitive programming, or it can be anything that can make you stand out and show कि हाँ इसने कुछ extra किया है. Know something more about software engineering than the other lakhs of applications that are out there. Why should we hire this person? That's it. That is about it is about a lot of competition and how do you stand out in the competition. As simple as that.
Agreed, because I think it's all about the attention game today, right?
Exactly.
Because how do you gain the attention when there is a line of people with almost similar capabilities? The delta is very low, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So how do you make a difference? What do you think about this, Khushboo?
Now that I'm thinking about my past job applications, मुझे ऐसा लगता है जब मैंने अपना resume submit किया है तब तो मुझे इतना ज़्यादा अच्छा acceptance rate नहीं आया है, but mostly recruiters reach out on LinkedIn and Twitter directly, and that has converted.
On Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter, LinkedIn,
Twitter,
I know.
for startups, startups
Yes,
mostly,
yes.
yeah,
Okay,
outside
very
India,
interesting, yeah.
Remote startups mostly,
remote
like-
startups outside India, Indian startups as well. The founders
Nice.
are very active on Twitter, basically.
Okay.
So मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि एक profile और एक presence is more important than just having a resume, because once they reach out, then you at least have an interview, and then they ask you for your resume, and then उसके basis पे they may ask you questions during behavioral rounds and hiring manager rounds. So I think definitely having a strong resume is very, very important, but also if you want to stand out, then you need to do more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, like for me also, when I applied for all these companies, Amazon, Uber, Atlassian, and Microsoft, I never had to set in my resume.
Yeah.
Never.
Even
They
for
saw
me,
my
it's
LinkedIn
very-
and they were
They
like,
saw your LinkedIn profile.
and they were like, we would be very happy to. It was not like just having. They were very happy to have.
Which is a very important point also that you guys made, because I think all three of you, not just today, but when you started out, also had I wouldn't call it a distribution, but you had a presence on social media platforms. And especially in the tech space, I don't know how to frame this, but let me say it. मुझे ऐसा लगता है that pure techies or people in the tech space don't feel the need to expose themselves or have a distribution on platforms, or they look down upon it in a way. Most of the people, I don't know why. अभी तो बहुत ज़्यादा लोग हैं.
Hatred आ गया है content
हाँ, आ गया है, because अभी फिर भी there are a lot of, it's not down upon it. How do I say it? मतलब मुझे अपनी बेसिक्स आते हैं, मैं अच्छा कोडर हूँ, मैं कंपनी में अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रही हूँ या कर रहा हूँ, उतना काफ़ी है. I don't need to go on YouTube and make tutorials. That's a general thinking. My question is, I want to know, but all of you went out there, whether for you, Khushboo, it was on Twitter and majorly on LinkedIn, obviously, or it was for YouTube, Instagram and LinkedIn for both of you. How do you think has your content creation journey and building a community on social media helped you in your career? Because this will give a lot of insights into folks understanding what to do beyond a resume also, right?
Yes, I would like to start with your first point, that why do we have less senior people creating content. First, I think it's because of the workload, and second, I think it's because of the family pressure, because like I'm a bachelor, so I can afford to go out of my way and create content, but sometimes for them it's not that possible. And obviously I think it's a recent new trend which has emerged since COVID mostly. Maybe that kind of content is not there, and even I'm not sure if when I'll have that kind of experience, if even I would get time to do that. But it has really helped me in a lot of sense. Like sometimes I just do things without even knowing what am I doing it for, and it has opened so many doors and opportunities for me that I didn't even see coming my way. Collaborations is one thing, then networking is another thing. It boosts your confidence. Like now today I'm capable of talking to people from so many different countries, and I understand where they're coming from, what kind of cultures do they have, etc. So opportunities is one thing, job opportunities is another thing. It opens more career options. Like content creation is something that, okay, you kind of start seeing, okay, this is also something that I can do full time, right? And then business aspects of things, you start understanding all those points. So I think it's really beneficial in that sense.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Twitter bit? Because I found that very interesting, and I think that's the only platform I'm not active on so far.
So
YouTube I've started 2 months back. So I want to, not from just my standpoint, I want to understand, because I think Nishant and Keerti knew, but I had no idea that there are recruiters or startup founders who are active there and also look at it as a hiring tool per se. So how does that work?
So Twitter Spaces was one thing that actually gave me that boost of, in traffic and on my page. Basically, it was going at a slow pace consistently, but then Spaces was something that actually boomed my profile. And what happened through that is, what I have noticed is that Twitter पे बहुत सारे founders हैं. Like LinkedIn पे, if you have to connect with someone, you have to be a connection and then you have to send a message. Twitter पे you can just directly DM people. So that way, founders are very active. They are constantly interacting there. So on LinkedIn, it's a little harder to see who is connected to whom, because people have like 30,000 or more connections. So yeah, that way.
Yeah, got it. Okay, great. Nice insight.
I think it depends from experience to experience. For me, like, I have been having a hard time on Twitter and I absolutely love LinkedIn. I think it depends on person to person. But talking about personal life things, so when I started content creation, so there were only a couple of senior tech folks who were creating content on YouTube, and when I used to see those tutorials, I imagined myself as that. But the only thing that I was very worried about was, I saw their profile as very extremely just tech, and it seemed like they code 24/7 and they don't have a personal life. And I am a person who likes, say, singing, painting, dancing, like, party, fun, like all kinds of things. Like, we do have a personal life. And I used to feel कि यार ये लोग 24 घंटे बस काम करते क्या. But then when I started doing it, and I showed my personal life on Insta as well, and I was actually appreciated for that. Plus, when I became friends with those content creators, I realized that they just don't show their personal life. I think why Nishant became very famous was in the life of a software engineer vlog. Right?
Many vlogs. That's how I got to know about him.
I think a lot of people.
And then I obviously went to his LinkedIn and everything, and we had a lot of common connections, Arish and many people. But I actually discovered him through his vlogs.
Right, because it's at that time, I don't think it was a trend ki, people show their personal lives, even though you're working in a good company. At that time, it was like ki, if you work in a good company, you work. That's the image that is shown, right? So that balance, I think, started being shown because people like us came up and became very active. So that is one thing. And secondly, I feel when you start creating content, you learn a lot of things. Like when I started, I had no idea about lighting, about sound. You learn, right? And as she was saying, YouTube is a small business in itself. You learn business skills like collaborations and talking to people, approaching people, so much of negativity, and now it has come up even more. मतलब पहले तो ऐसा होता था कि people used to appreciate, क्योंकि क्या होता लॉकडाउन में सबकी जॉब लग रही थी, तो they would appreciate कि आपकी वजह से जॉब लग रही है. अब नंबर ऑफ जॉब्स कम हो गई है, तो लोगों की जॉब लगती है, आते हैं उस वक्त सब्सक्राइब करते हैं, बिकॉज मेरा तो पूरा ट्यूटोरियल कंटेंट होता है.
करेक्ट.
एंड आई कैन टेल यू, मैं ऐसे हंड्रेड्स ऑफ टाइम्स हुआ है कि मैं ऐसे राह चलते लोगों से ऐसे टकराई हुई. पीपल वर लाइक कि जब मैं जॉब के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहा था, आई सब्सक्राइब, आई वॉच द वीडियोस, नाउ आई हैव अनसब्सक्राइब, एंड दे
बोल रहे हैं,
they don't even feel bad, like they are like कि when I will search for job again, I will watch a video.
This is very sad.
They have no idea what I'm doing with my life right now, क्योंकि उनकी तो जॉब लग,
क्योंकि अब जरूरत नहीं है.
That's the like tutorial content works like.
But did YouTube? I want to know. Did YouTube? You said LinkedIn पे तो recruiters used to see your profile and बिना resume कि most of the top company के recruiters were happy to have you on board. So LinkedIn helped you, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Professionally, career wise, a lot, right?
LinkedIn helped me grow my YouTube as well.
Okay.
So because
which is very unique, because उल्टा देखा है मैंने.
क्योंकि lockdown में I was never active on LinkedIn, and I like the first 2-3 posts was just sharing my video. Okay, I just created this, and the amount of support I got on LinkedIn, the amount of support I have received during lockdown, everyone was like, "You're doing amazing." You like Insta and everything. I love the professionalism, and look, they cannot be like इतने ज्यादा उस वक्त फेक प्रोफाइल्स नहीं होती जितनी अब होती है. एंड आई गेस ट्विटर पे ज्यादा होती है, मतलब इंस्टा पे भी लोग गाली देने से पहले सोचते नहीं है, यूट्यूब पे सोचते नहीं, बट आई थिंक लिंक्डइन पे
I think in comparison moderation है थोड़ा.
हाँ, तो मेरा जैसे बहुत ही दिमाग खराब होता है, लोग ऐसे बकवास करते हैं आगे, मैं तो वहाँ पे सुना देती हूँ, तो वो लिंक्डइन पे मुझे कम झेलना पड़ता है, तो आई एम हैप्पी.
Got it. Nishant, what about you? How has your YouTube and LinkedIn presence and Instagram presence helped?
So it helped me connect with a lot of founders actually, like
okay.
founders, people who are working on their own companies. And when I was building, like I started building Tayyari, I was able to reach out to them very easily.
Got it.
Like, I need your help. I'm building a pitch deck. Apna wala dikha do, ya fir can you please review this? And that helped. Like that really helped.
Networking ke liye.
Yeah, for sure. Because if I'm asking someone for a podcast, I am a direct connection to that person now.
Yeah.
I can just go and ask for a favor if I want.
Right.
So correct. I am connected to a number of founders who have raised money earlier or who are building their own startup from the ground up. So it helped in that way. And collaborations is one thing that you get if you have good numbers on any social media platform. True. That doesn't matter if it's YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere when you have. So I have got an opportunity to interview to many companies, but I've never done that because I always wanted to do something of my own. When I was at Microsoft, I was like, ठीक है.
कोई inbound offers आते थे from आते ही होंगे, I'm sure.
Yeah. Amazon, Google, then some startups, Coinbase, किसी ना किसी का like they used to reach out for interviews कि we are hiring right now, if you're interested. You can like share your
and this is without them even going out there and applying on any website or a portal. This is inbound because of the presence and probably the content you were creating, which gave the recruiters the confidence कि इस बंदे को या इसको आते हैं अपने concepts and चीजें. Mostly LinkedIn profile.
If you have added your like work experience there, if you have worked on a project, क्या technologies use करी थी, क्या build किया था, that helps you in the SEO. If someone is searching for Android developer and if you have not added Android developer in your profile,
तो दिखोगे ही नहीं.
तो भी दिखोगे नहीं LinkedIn पे.
Correct.
So recruiters, like I had a podcast with a Google recruiter. She told me that they first go to their own platform, जो उनका ATS होता है. If they don't find a resume, then they go to LinkedIn before going to Naukri or
any other portal.
And the profile really helps. Like scrolling through the profile, they'll know कि यार अच्छा इसने ये किया है, यहाँ पे काम किया हुआ है, इतने साल का experience है. Then they DM you.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, then it's tough.
I think the key takeaway here is that when you're adding your job experience on LinkedIn, constantly keep on updating the description as well, and also the language tags there that you have worked on.
The tech stack you're working on, what are you doing? I think because that will help you boost up and go up in the ranking also when recruiters are looking for talent.
Right.
Makes sense. Got it. अब okay, we spoke obviously about the skill set needed. हमने थोड़ी बहुत ये भी बात की कि आप लोगों को जो social media presence है beyond the resume, how it's helped you from a I would say standpoint personally as content creators as well, and also when it came to getting good jobs at great companies. I want to know a little bit about this thing that when it comes to getting tech jobs, there is always this understanding कि यार there is one particular language that you have to master or know, right? And which I believe obviously you should know at least one language really well. Although मैंने कभी भी beyond 6 months कुछ pursue नहीं किया in computer science, even though I was in ECE. The first year we had computer science subjects. I still remember that when in the first semester we had Python, second semester they taught us C++, and then they want to teach Java. By then I was like, bas ho gaya. But what I remember very clearly was told to me is या तो Python या तो C++ या Java, इन तीनों में से किसी एक जो भी आपको अपने comfort level पे ठीक लग रही है, start learning the basics of it and understand the concept of the language. Syntax तो आप किसी भी language का सीख लोगे. मुझे यही बोलती थी मेरी teacher की बस language समझ में आ जानी चाहिए, problem solving skill होनी चाहिए, बाकी it will happen. ये बोलना is very simple. I don't understand how do you execute this for beginners. So somebody who's not from a CSE background, let's say a person in chemical engineering or in a civil engineering stream, but they're passionate. उनको लग रहा है interest कि मेरे को computer science करना है, I want to get a tech job. जब वो coding start करते हैं एक language से ही start करोगे आप. Language pick कैसे करनी है और उसका एक road map. If you can share.
I think Keerti did the same thing. She's the best one to answer.
Keerti, if you can start, and then you can give your inputs.
Yes. So according to me, you should start with a simple language, like which should be C++ or Java. And
why do you call it simple?
I'll tell you. And then there are scripting languages like Python, JavaScript, and all this. These are called scripting languages.
Okay.
You add on to one scripting language in your career eventually.
Okay.
But I think you should start with either C++ or Java. And because when I teach in both C++ and Java these days. Like when I teach LLD or DSA, and I actually show to them, देखो ये आपका concept है, and only the syntax is changing over here. C++ या Java में.
तो लैंग्वेज पर्सपेक्टिव से आप एक्चुअली दिखाते हो कि ओनली द सिंटैक्स इज चेंजिंग, द कांसेप्ट इज द सेम.
आप DSA ले लो, आप लो लेवल सिस्टम डिजाइन ले लो, आप कैसे कोड लिख रहे हो, द कांसेप्ट इज एग्जैक्टली द सेम. स्क्रिप्टिंग लैंग्वेजेस थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट हो जाती है देन C++ जावा, क्योंकि मतलब द वे दे वर्क, मतलब हाउ इट इज थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट होता है. मैं बहुत ही सिंपल टर्म्स में अभी बोल रही हूँ. C++ या जावा एक कोई भी लैंग्वेज उठाओ एंड स्टार्ट फ्रॉम देयर, DSA LLD करो, एंड इवेंचुअली इन योर करियर यू विल definitely do either Python, JavaScript या कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही लोगे. Then you will feel confident. But if you're an absolute beginner, start with either C++ or Java according to me. You guys can add on to
like if you want to learn coding, मतलब basic सीखना है कि problem कैसे solve करना है, then I think Python is the best one to start with. मतलब अगर बस ये सीखना है कि how to write a loop, या how to solve a problem, how to build chess game, या फिर how to build a calculator. Python is the easiest. Like if you have zero background,
easy तो होती है. हाँ, वो तो मुझे भी idea है.
But फिर वो going back to C++ is a bit tough.
फिर हाँ, then the transition to go from Python to C++ or Java becomes that gap comes ना.
इसीलिए I suggest वैसे.
इतना नहीं होता because I did Python first. Like school में 11-12 में I did Python.
ठीक है.
The first language I ever interacted with was Python. And वहाँ पे I like started loving how like coding works. Because जो कर रहा था बहुत आराम से हो जाता था. You just have to write English लिखो, it works. So going back to C++ was tough, but it was not that tough because जो चीजें कॉन्सेप्ट्स थे ऑलरेडी पढ़ चुका था. लूप्स क्या होते हैं, इफ एल्स क्या होता है, द सिंटैक्स वाज डिफरेंट, एवरीथिंग वाज सेम. डेटा स्ट्रक्चर लिखना कैसे वो like was an add-on, but whatever the topic was already like taught in Python. तो वो काफी इजी था. तो if you have zero idea, कुछ भी नहीं पता है, बस ऐसे कुछ छोटा सा बिल्ड करके देखना है, सीखना है, you want to like follow tutorials.
तो Python is a good starting point, you're saying, obviously.
But don't you think data structures के बिना तो मतलब उस पे तो आपको
if you want to just learn कि syntax क्या होता है, बिल्कुल basic coding सीखनी है, not मतलब if you want to do competitive या if you want to solve problems, then C++ Java for sure. But अगर बिल्कुल ही beginner हो, अगर 11th-12th क्लास में हो या फिर if you are a 10th class 9th class, जो बच्चे start करते हैं, they start with Python because it's easier. वो scratch स्कूल में सिखाना स्टार्ट कर दिया. स्क्रैच जैसे ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप, दे लर्न द कांसेप्ट ऑफ इफ एल्स, लूप्स क्या होते हैं, तो ये सारी चीजें वो सीख जाते हैं. देन मूविंग टू C++ इज इजियर क्योंकि उन्हें पता है कि लूप क्या होता है. दे डोंट हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट द लूप इज, एंड वो राइटिंग इज डिफरेंट. वो फिर सीख जाते हैं कि लिखना कैसे है, बिकॉज़ राइटिंग
स्कूल्स में भी आजकल पाइथन ज्यादा, मतलब मेरे नीस है 7th स्टैंडर्ड में, शी इज लर्निंग पाइथन.
एग्जैक्टली, बिकॉज़ इट्स इजियर टू ग्रास्प. तो इफ यू आर absolute beginner, कुछ पता ही नहीं है, बस एक बार ट्राई करके देखना है कि if I am like
can I even do this or am I interested?
Exactly, then Python. क्योंकि C++ पढ़ते ही आपको डर लगने लग जाता है.
बहुत लगा
ये तो नहीं हो पाएगा मेरे से. And then you will like start hating it at the beginning only.
But be prepared कि थोड़ा सा आपको स्विच तो करना
पड़ेगा. टफ मतलब हल्का सा मुश्किल होगा, but if you have already if you are interested in coding, वहाँ पे पता चल जाएगा, फिर अपने आप कर पाओगे.
What about you, Khushboo? What do you think?
So I have seen people who started with Python are now very excellent developers in C++, and I have also seen the other way around. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हर किसी का सीखने का तरीका अलग होता है, and for some people Keerti's course might work, for someone Nishant's course might work. So pick one course which you are able to understand and just do that. So either it's in C++ or Java or Python, does not matter. Companies do not have any restriction. तुम्हें समझ में आना चाहिए. जिस भी टीचर का जो भी कोर्स समझ में आए, take that and complete it, and then you will have the foundation. Then do anything. People, what do? They start with C++, then they're like, "Arey, my friend is doing in Java. Am I missing out on something?" And then they're like, "दीदी क्या मुझे Java करना चाहिए?" I'm like, just what you have started उसको खत्म करो. बहुत लोग क्या करते हैं कि DSA का कोर्स स्टार्ट करते हैं, they don't even reach DSA like graphs and DP, and they stop उससे पहले, and then they switch between languages, and it never helps. Basically
confusion ही बढ़ती है when you're writing तो C++ लिखते टाइम Java याद आ रही है.
And it's actually confusing. So I did this mistake. I actually started with Java, then I jumped to C++.
Okay.
And थोड़ा syntactical difference, and I used to get confused. Then I sticked to C++.
Okay. Yeah. So you, मतलब आप तीनों यही recommend कर रहे हो that don't juggle between multiple languages for sure.
एक करो बस.
Makes no sense.
कोई भी एक कर लो,
एंड फिर आप दूसरी लैंग्वेजेस ऑब्वियसली समझ भी पाओगे क्योंकि आपको बस कॉन्सेप्ट और फंडामेंटल समझ आ चुके होंगे, तो आप सिंटैक्स तो सीख ही लोगे ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. Got it. ठीक है. And tell me a little bit about this fact कि projects की जब हम बात करते हैं, and you all have already spoken about a little bit on the front that it can be a side project, it can be a project that you're working or building on if you have a job currently, or it could be projects that we build in college also, right? We were given these projects where we develop things. So, but I want to understand कि किन projects की value होती है in front of a recruiter, because see, बोलने के लिए you can be making any kind of a project and doing anything. ठीक है? I also feel it's very easy today to make a 80-page report saying I built this. कोड डाल देना, उसमें कोई मुश्किल काम नहीं है. आज it's even the more easier. How do you have projects on the resume which speak for the fact that you're capable of building something and applying what you have learned? So how do you choose? Because mostly what happens is, it happens today also, seniors ने वो project किया था, अपने tape लिया, उसको थोड़ा modify कर दिया, या you added some extra component to it and hey, this is made, right? Because seniors will already give you the code, even if it's like a hardware software integration, आपके पास सब होता है, and you are modifying the report a little, adding something and just getting done with it. Does that add value, or do you encourage people to actually work on meaningful projects from scratch? And how do you even know कि these are things that we can build or create during college?
I think when someone is starting, they can't build something from scratch on day one. So they will have to take reference from existing projects, maybe follow tutorials step by step understanding. But you asked what is the most effective? The most effective is जो आपने खुद बनाया है and जो आपको समझ में आता है. Because resume shortlisting आप निकाल सकते हो copy करके, but interviewer knows ins and outs of engineering, so they can easily pick if you're lying.
Yeah.
So
interview की time पे तो पता चल ही जाएगा.
Yes, exactly.
But so can you give me an example of maybe any one project from your resume that you think was one of the most, I would say, impactful ones that you worked on, which recruiters would generally like or ask you questions about or would pique their interest?
I don't think I had any specific one, because usually I add 4 projects to my resume and I also attach my GitHub profiles link alongside. So people, if they want to see क्या code मैंने लिखा है, they can go to my GitHub and they can see the commit history. So that there works. Most of my projects are from hackathons where I have built with teams, and let's say I build the backend component, etc. Few of them are personal projects that I built during the college time, and now it's all work experience. So
got it.
Nothing as such. I wouldn't say any tech stack is more fancier than the rest. No. It's more about how confident you are and how much you know about the underlying tech.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I had 2 projects. I won Smart India Hackathon in 2020.
Oh, nice.
So placements के time that was the main
highlight.
I can every
imagine.
Or every interviewer was asking कि क्या किया था, क्या बनाया था, what was the problem statement, how did you solve it, XYZ. ये जो basic questions होते हैं, क्या tech stack use किया था. The other one was on blockchain basically.
Okay.
So I had learned blockchain when I was in second year, third year के आसपास.
तब तो just आया ही था.
हाँ, internships के time पे they were very curious about it. They used to ask me questions कि अच्छा ये कैसे होता है. So I learned Solidity. Solidity is a language you can code Ethereum related blockchain का smart contract.
Right.
So वो मैंने उस पे एक project बनाया हुआ था. We went to a hackathon. उस hackathon में we presented that project as well. So मेरे Samsung के interview में the interviewer asked me that only. Okay. If you want to build Git on blockchain, can we do that? If we can do that, how can we do that? तो ये वाला एक पूरा उसने अलग ही problem statement देके questions पूछना start कर दिया था, because he saw Solidity
that project
and smart contracts.
Right.
So this is the thing. If you have worked on it, then you can answer these questions कि हाँ कैसे हो सकता है, क्या हो सकता है, क्या operations होते हैं. Basic.
Right.
I'll add on something. Like as she also said, he also said कि firstly आपने जो किए हैं उसके around आपको पूरी knowledge होनी चाहिए, कि उसके around आपसे questions तो definitely पूछे जाएंगे. Secondly, अब क्या हो गया कि competition excess में बढ़ गया है. तो starting में will definitely start with simple projects in college, but because there's so much competition, simple clone projects do not work anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There was a time where just having a clone project was
okay, चल जाता था.
It was impressive actually.
It was impressive.
Now I don't think it is impressive. So I keep talking about this now. Like let me give you another example. पहले क्या होता था? From freshers you expect only DSA. Now you also expect LLD and HLD from freshers. पहले होता था कि HLD will ask you only if you have 2 years of experience. Now some companies ask from freshers also. LLD from freshers also. Earlier it was at least 1 year of experience. Competition has increased. क्योंकि आपको LLD HLD पढ़ना ही है, तो I usually suggest this to college students, is my personal opinion, कि आप कर ही रहे हो तो आप उसमें कहीं पे थोड़ा बहुत LLD लगा दो, कहीं पे थोड़ा बहुत HLD लगा दो. LLD आप एक बेसिक डायग्राम बना दोगे तो वो दिखेगा कि आपने थॉट प्रोसेस डाला है, आप सीख भी रहे हो, आपका प्रोजेक्ट भी हो रहा है. एक हाई लेवल सिस्टम डिजाइन आप प्रोजेक्ट बनाओ, आप उसमें लगाओ कि ये कंपोनेंट्स है. तो एक सिंपल क्लोन टाइप का तो हो ही गया, प्लस यू हैव एडेड योर ओन थोड़ा सा लो लेवल सिस्टम डिजाइन, हाई लेवल सिस्टम डिजाइन, एंड इट बिकम्स एक्सट्रीमली इम्प्रेसिव. यू आर ऑल्सो डायरेक्टिंग योर इंटरव्यू इन अ पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन कि ठीक है अब तुमको एलईडी के बारे में पता है, चलो एलईडी के बारे में
पूछ सकते हैं,
या तुमने ये डिजाइन पैटर्न लगाया, अच्छा चलो इसके बारे में बात करते हैं, या तुमने ये पढ़ा है, क्योंकि आपको एनीवे वो पढ़ना है तो आप वो अप्लाई भी कर दो एंड आपका इंटरव्यू एक डायरेक्शन में भी चला जाएगा. क्योंकि एज शी सेड कोई भी एक टेक्स्ट दूसरे टेक्स्ट से फैंसी नहीं है. एलएलडी एचएलडी क्या होगा, आपके कॉन्सेप्ट दिखाएगा, जैसे टीएस आपका प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स दिखाता है. तो ये मेरे ख्याल से आजकल बहुत ही सही तरीका है करने का, इसलिए बहुत सारे कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स आजकल थोड़ा एलएलडी एचएलडी करने लगे. यू ऑब्वियसली स्टार्ट फ्रॉम बेसिक डीएसए बेसिक प्रोजेक्ट्स, बट हाउ डू यू work on that and eventually as freshers, as someone with 1 year of experience, you add that. And for me, a very impressive project that I worked on was जो मैंने startup में काम किया था. I was the only employee.
अच्छा.
So even today, if I tell someone कि I was the only employee of a startup and I delivered a project end to end by myself.
It is a big thing.
It is a big thing.
Yeah.
भले ही वो बहुत ही basic भी हो, but DevOps भी किया है उसमें मैंने end to end खुद से. It was a new tech. I had never heard of that. Flutter उससे पहले, and I learned about it. I contributed to the community after that because I had studied about it so much. I can answer anything and everything about it. So it is about कि how do you know impress your interviewer and make yourself stand out. क्योंकि एक बहुत ही एक specific tech के बारे में हो जाता है तो कभी कभी मतलब ठीक है आपको वो टेक आती है बट नॉट नेसेसरी कि इंटरव्यूअर को भी आती है. तो कीप इट एज जनरल, मतलब थोड़ा सा मतलब not necessary, but this is a smarter way to go about it.
Got it. Okay. So I think overall what I have understood is that your projects at the end of the day have to be things obviously जिन पे आपने काम किया है, because if you have not worked on at least some aspect of it, let's say 100% भी काम नहीं किया है, when a recruiter is asking you questions, they will know in no time that it is not you who has worked on this, and obviously it's going to show. That too, I think today even the more with the AI tools and chat GPT coming in, it's even the more easy to just say and fluff कि मैंने किया है, but you'll know in a second in the next round of interview that आपने कुछ नहीं किया है actual में, right? इसकी जब हम बात कर रहे हैं, a lot of you also mentioned about hackathons. There are a lot of conferences that happen. I think there are a lot of communities in colleges and outside colleges also, whether it's the Microsoft Azure dev community, whether it's Salesforce की अपनी communities. I've heard of GC, I think GDG. Also, there are a lot of GDG clubs, Google development group के जो clubs होते हैं. And there's so many other communities wherein people are trying to help freshers who are trying to crack it into the tech ecosystem. I'm not very sure, but when it came to either during college times being a part of these communities, attending conferences, hackathons, or it was, let's say, taking part in other colleges के fests also, जब competitions होते हैं, right? बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. How much of a role do you think does participation in these extracurricular activities and communities, you know, have on the overall impact and personality you bring to the table as somebody who is coming as a new talent in a company?
I think Khushboo is the best person to answer.
Yes, please.
I think that if India में ऐसे बहुत सारे colleges हैं जहाँ पे अच्छे cultures नहीं है tech के, and a lot of people are wasting their time. So उन बच्चों को तो ज़रूर जाना चाहिए ऐसे events में, because it will give them exposure to what's happening in India, not just in their college, but they should also not just go for the FOMO of it. Technically मैंने कभी भी sessions attend करके ज़्यादा नहीं सीखा है. Most of the benefit that has come to me through communities has been the networking that I've had there. I have met people, I understood where they're working, what are they working on, why is it that something of interest to them. So वो सब चीज़ें बहुत help करती हैं. Even today I attend a lot of events and conferences for the networking part of it.
What kind of communities were you a part of when you
I
were
was a part of a couple of communities. So one very amazing community was GitHub Campus Experts, where it's like a community of
GCH.
100 people from all it's just called GCE.
I don't remember.
GCE, yeah.
Sorry.
So it's like a community of 100 people from all over the world. So you are getting to interact with people from all over the world. You have connections in different countries, and you know क्या job opportunities किस country में. You have people to give referrals in those countries. So that helps a lot. And I was also part of Google के couple of events I used to attend. So I used to attend those because they used to happen in the Google office in Gurgaon. And I was like, Google office किसको देखना पसंद है, so I used to go. But in the long term, it has actually played out really well for me.
Got it. Great.
I feel why hackathons is a very amazing place to be at is क्योंकि देखो अगर हमारा कोई एग्जाम नहीं होता एंड हमारे पास टाइम है पढ़ने के लिए तो हम 3 महीने में जो चीज़ पढ़ते हैं वर्सेस अगर हमारा 1 हफ्ते में एग्जाम है हम फट से पढ़ लेंगे 1 हफ्ते में. इट इज लाइक दैट ओनली. आप प्रोजेक्ट बिल्ड करने बैठोगे आप यूजुअली स्ट्रेच करते जाते हो वर्सेस हैकाथॉन होता है 1 वीक का 3 days का 24 hour हैकाथॉन्स. तो यू गिव योरसेल्फ इनटू इट एंड यू ग्रुप अप एंड देन यू पुश ईच अदर एंड आप एक दूसरे से भी बहुत सीखते हो. कोई एक बैक एंड कर रहा है कोई एक फ्रंट एंड कर रहा है. मुझे तो वो वाइब भी बहुत
कॉम्प्लीमेंटरी स्किल्स यू नो लोग जब आते हैं
एंड यू sort of push yourself. आप एक हैकाथॉन में भले ही उतना कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं कर पाओगे. You feel like यार let me just learn this and next hackathon में I will do better. And I think it is a great way of pushing yourself. Plus आपका एक project हो जाता है as you have projects of hackathons in your resume, right? I think it is such a great way to add hackathons. मतलब how I got hired at Intuit was because I participated in a hackathon. I won it and they called me for an interview.
अच्छा ऐसे हुआ?
Yes. So you don't even know कि which opportunity turns into what. Yes. Yeah. So I really think hackathons आपको एक तो project add हो जाएगा, आपके opportunities add हो जाती है, coding challenges, hackathons. I suggest everyone कि ये करते रहो. ऐसे you keep pushing yourself and you also are part of a very positive community and you learn from everyone.
True.
Right.
Nishant, what about you? I think you also took part in the Smart India hackathon. You won it, but apart from that, any community experiences, दूसरी चीजें overall that help you?
Coding का नहीं है यार.
Coding का नहीं?
I never joined any coding community as in college as well. I was mostly interested in fests and और जो clubs वगैरह होते हैं. So I was part of 3 college societies.
ठीक है.
I was a part of the cultural fest as well as the technical fest, like in the core team.
In the organizing team.
Yeah. So I've done all that.
Nice.
I was not a part of any coding specific clubs because वो तो वैसे भी कर ही रहा था. So I was like कुछ और try कर लेते हैं.
नहीं. That's also obviously a good thing to do. I feel it adds a new flavor also.
Like it helps you connect with people from a different background.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my friends which I made in college were not from CS.
Correct.
Because I was able to interact with them through these societies or these fests. If I was not like involved in this, जो मेरा circle था, that would have been the class I am in.
Right.
I would have not been able to interact with people. People used to know me around the college because I used to participate in a lot of things.
I'm sure.
So वो एक like different thing. And it helped me improve my confidence, build it up, and communication skills कैसे improve करने, ये सारी चीजें like it helped out for sure.
Right.
So
and hackathons का कैसे experience था?
अच्छा था यार. We started going to hackathons when we were in like second year.
Okay.
Second year, third, fourth semester में नहीं मतलब second year में we started going to the hackathons and we were not able to win as many hackathons as Khushboo might have. एक या 2 में we were like 4th, 5th consolation prize वगैरह मिला था. But we were able to win the Smart India hackathon. तो इट वाज अ गुड एक्सपीरियंस भाई. जैसे कीर्ति ने बताया कि कम टाइम होता है, ज्यादा चीजें बिल्ड कर लेते हो, और लोगों से मिलते हो, मजा आता है एंड इट्स अ गुड एक्सपीरियंस टू हैव.
I'll add something to that. What he was saying, he was part of cultural ये सब. तो मैं देखती हूँ कि आजकल क्योंकि इतना प्रेशर हो गया ना कि you have to be coding. I think people have stopped participating in दूसरी चीजें
करते ही नहीं है.
I feel they should. And I have actually seen it. They like toppers who are just into कि marks आ जाए नहीं आ जाए. They don't do as well in the career
100%.
as people who are involved in other things. It can be coding things also, but even if it is cultural things, fest, anything you're organizing, you are basically becoming better at communication, better at organizing things, leadership skills, ownership.
आप अपनी 360 degree holistic growth कर रहे हो, development कर रहे हो यार. उसके बिना how will you grow as an individual?
Yep.
Plus college भी एक ही बार मिलता है.
And
once
the college life बस पूरे टाइम पढ़ते ही रहे. मतलब it's important for your career.
It's like the core memory of college days for me, like putting up those banners ऊपर चढ़ के.
I know यार, रात भर वो कॉफी चाय पे बैठना, मैगी खाना, पूरी रात जाके स्पॉन्सरशिप्स लेना. I was a part of the cultural and technical fest in my college also. So I think just calling those people, कोई स्पॉन्सर लाना, स्टॉल्स लगवाना, या ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कमिटी में जब फेस्ट में आर्टिस्ट भी आते थे, यू गेट टू नेटवर्क विद देम, सेलिब्रिटीज आते थे, एंड देन farewells, so many things, right? I think those experiences cannot be traded off for anything. I feel you can't.
Absolutely.
And वहाँ पे जब मतलब I am from a government college,
तो वो
पूरा वो होता है ना,
बहुत अच्छा कॉलेज है NSIT.
बजट का
नहीं कह रहा, बजट वगैरह एंड इवन द एडमिन, एडमिन के साथ काम कैसे करवाना है, लाइक द गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस में काम कैसे होता है,
एक सैंक्शन बजट. आई नो यार,
वो चीज, वो स्किल, परसिवियरेंस, और सारी स्किल्स वहीं पे सीखने को मिलते हैं. जब बैठे रहना पड़ता है,
एक परमिशन के लिए आपको 4 ब्लॉक में जाना है,
सब कुछ करना है. उनका स्ट्रिक्ट टाइम होता है. दे आर
और टाइम तो मतलब बंद, ऑफिस
4 बजे बंद तो बंद, 4 बजे से लेकर आना कराओ. So you learn all these things through that.
Yeah. People management skills जो होती हैं.
आजकल के कॉलेज के बच्चे, लाइक आई हैव बीन टू 30+ कॉलेजेस, सो व्हेन दे इनवाइट अस, दे आर टॉकिंग टू अस, वो हमसे भी गाइडेंस लेते हैं. अलग से जब कोई मेरे को पिकअप करने आता है जैसे कार में, व्हेन वी गो फॉर इवेंट्स, समवन इज कमिंग टू पिक अस अप, हम उनसे रास्ते भर बात करते हुए जाते हैं, राइट? तो इट इज सॉर्ट ऑफ उनको सीखने ही मिल रहा है ना,
राइट? ट्रू.
कितने लोगों को ऐसे 1-to-1 सीखने मिलता है, बट वो कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स को स्पेशली सीखने मिल रहा है. ये छोटी छोटी चीजें होती है व्हिच आई थिंक
दैट इज ट्रू. दे गेट दैट क्लोज कॉन्टैक्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी व्हिच मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल हु आर नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ द क्लब आर नॉट गेटिंग, राइट? एंड दैट external exposure from people who are in the market, been there doing that and implementing stuff in companies where they want to be at, right, someday. So I think usse zyada learning, like you said, in clubs and chapters, you're saying it rightly. When I also go to colleges, the organizing committee or the people who are a part of that club or chapter, the leadership team there, they get a lot of exposure because they get to directly interact with the guests.
Right.
Yeah, Khushboo, you were saying something.
No, I totally agree with this point. It has been
core memory. I know. But मुझे एक बात बताओ, like हमने obviously college से related और बहुत सारी बातें की about projects, we spoke about the resume aspect, the profile aspect, the technical skills, and obviously the other communities and societies and hackathons also now. Personally, I want to talk to you a little bit about content creation as a career. So I didn't ask you what are your thoughts on taking it up full time. So I want to understand, when you started doing content creation, आप उसको कैसे देखते थे versus today, how do you look at it, and how have you traversed that journey from then to now, only from a content creation standpoint in the tech ecosystem?
So first of all, you should have a core skill. Like before starting a tech content creator, before becoming that, you should at least be a decent software engineer.
Right.
अगर तुम वो नहीं हो तो getting back to the job would be tough. ठीक है? And earlier it was a bit simple to start creating content. हर जगह कंपटीशन बढ़ा है, तो यहाँ पे बढ़ा है. Like every other person has started doing it. Every other person is doing the same thing that we were doing like 2 years back. So वही same copy paste कर रहे हैं. So it's tough for everyone to break out. पहले it was comparatively easier. That's why when you think about tech creators, you will name like 10, 12, 15 max. उसके आगे नहीं दिमाग
नहीं आता.
And you will see LinkedIn पे maybe 500 people with 100k plus followers.
मतलब बहुत ही ज़्यादा.
वो वाली चीज is tough. तो पहले core skill develop कर लो before like starting content creation. Content creation as a career is good for sure. Because if you are able to make it, then तो फिर there is like no limit.
No limit.
But if you are not able to make it, you should have a plan B. मतलब तो plan B के लिए you should have a core skill. तो अगर engineering कर रहे हो, अगर experience ले लिया है, then try it out. If you think कि इसमें ज़्यादा I have more interest in this, I can give more time and get more out.
आपने किस platform से start किया था निशांत?
YouTube.
YouTube was your first platform. Why did you start with YouTube?
Yeah, I used to watch YouTube creators when I was a child. So मेरा हमेशा से था कि I want to try it out. बस वो बहुत ऐसे random था, ऐसा कुछ plan नहीं था कि मेरे को tech content creator बनना है, ऐसे tech content बनाना है. It was never like that. I just wanted to create because free बैठा था मैं कोविड के टाइम में. I was like कुछ करके देख लेते हैं, क्या पता अच्छा ही हो.
And Abhi, how long have you been putting up videos on YouTube?
I think I'll complete 4 years in September.
Nice.
So,
amazing. Okay.
And I don't think it is for everyone. Like how software engineering is not for everyone.
True. I'm glad that you said that also. सब कर पाए जरूरी नहीं है.
क्योंकि सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स आप देख लो कितने लोग अभी भी 3 LPA 4 LPA जॉब्स पे है, राइट? वर्सेस देयर आर आल्सो पीपल विद 50 LPA. सो इट इज अबाउट योर इंटरेस्ट एंड आप उसमें अच्छे हो कि नहीं हो. इट हैज टू बी अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ दोज थिंग्स. ऑल्सो आप कंटेंट क्रिएशन इज ऑल्सो ह्यूज. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई एम अ टीचर. अगर मैं व्लॉग्स बनाती हूँ, I might not be very good at it, and not always I feel satisfaction in that. I feel more satisfied in teaching, and even though I can make decent vlogs, I don't feel that satisfied. Versus I think he enjoys more vlogs, right? I have had मतलब बहुत सारे content creators हैं जो teaching में घुसे, but they don't like it so much and then they left it, which is fine.
Which is okay, whatever suits you.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and there are people who went into vlogs and then they left vlogs because it's not their thing. So it is really important कि तुमको उस चीज में मजा आ रहा है. मतलब हो सकता है कि तुम्हारे सब्सक्राइबर्स फिर भी बढ़ रहे हो, बट अगर तुमको मजा नहीं आ रहा था, इट इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल बिकॉज डिप्स तो आएंगे ही, बट वो आपको करते रहना है तभी तो आगे हो पाएगा. तो इट हैज टू बी इंटरसेक्शन ऑफ जो पसंद आ रहा है, जो चल रहा है, एंड जिसमें इंटरेस्ट भी है. मतलब यू आर गुड एट इट ऑल्सो. मतलब इट हैज टू बी एन इंटरसेक्शन ऑफ.
योर फर्स्ट प्लेटफॉर्म वाज
YouTube because I'm from non-CS, right?
हाँ.
तो मैं तो बहुत सारे ट्यूटोरियल्स देखती थी.
Right.
तो मैंने लिटरली सारे ट्यूटोरियल्स देखे हुए थे उस टाइम पे जितने भी थे DSA के. एंड आई यूज्ड टू लुक एट दैट एंड आई एम लाइक कि मैं ये बेटर पढ़ा सकती हूँ क्योंकि मुझे टाइम लगता था वो समझने में. एंड दैट्स हाउ आई स्टार्टेड एंड आई हैड नो क्लियर विजन कि मुझे क्या करना है. In fact, I have done ample of mistakes. I never had a proper series. I could have grown much more. I'm still not as regular as other content creators like Nishant and all. अगर मैं वो करूँ तो I know I can do better. But I think it is person to person. Like मेरा थोड़ा है कि long term होना चाहिए. अगर मैं एकदम ही पुश करती रहूंगी तो मैं लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं कर पाऊंगी. एंड मैं एडुकोसिस भी चला रही हूँ तो थोड़ा सा बैलेंस करना पड़ता है. कभी ये कभी वो, कभी ये कभी वो.
Got it. What about you, Khushboo?
So
with respect to content, how has it been? Because you're still doing a full-time job.
Yeah, so that is the point that I think that people see the benefits of it. लोग देखते हैं कि अरे इतने famous हो गए, इनको colleges में बुला रहे हैं, इन्होंने घर ले लिया, गाड़ी ले ली. It's so tough to sit in front of a camera, looking decent, having a nice setup, recording it, taking 10,000 takes. I don't know how many takes it takes. Getting it edited, putting it out, being consistent. There is so much that goes on behind the scenes and people, I think, don't recognize that. वो सिर्फ उसके benefits को देख के सोचते हैं कि maybe I can do this full time. So I think when people think that they should consider content creation, they should give it a shot. And they should try to be consistent for at least 3 months. And only then they should see if that is something that actually interests them. Because as Keerti mentioned, ki you have to be good at something. You first have to be good in the area and then you also have to be good at the entire content creation thing and then being consistent. These 3 things I don't think are everyone's cup of tea. So the people who are doing, I don't think I can do it along with a full-time job, and I really love being a software engineer. I don't see myself as a full-time content creator anytime soon. So
got it.
Not my cup of tea, but I am active on certain platforms and those are getting me enough collaborations for now. So
and I think you're doing pretty well for yourself the way it is right now. So, and again, it's good to see that, like you said, there are people who have wanted to do it full time and have done it, and it's great that you're also saying it that I don't see myself doing it full time, at least in the near future. If it obviously changes, it's great. But since we're talking about, we spoke about collaborations, we spoke about content creation. See, it's very important on a career podcast to talk a little bit about money, because money is important. When you choose a career path, आप obviously देखते हो उसका ROI क्या होगा, कितना lucrative होगा. माँ बाप भी पूछते हैं, सोसाइटी वाले भी पूछते हैं. You also want to have you have a certain vision of the kind of lifestyle and life you want to lead. I want to get an understanding from all of you on now, right now in the current market. Let's say if somebody has at least a good hold on one programming language, they have their DSA concepts, you know, which are cleared, some decent projects, कुछ hackathons गए हैं, resume आपका अच्छा है, तो टिपिकली ये जो टॉप MNCs हैं या स्टार्टअप्स हैं, उनमें ऑन एन एवरेज किस तरीके की सैलरीज चल रही हैं एज ऑफ नाउ इन द मार्केट, एंड जो करियर ट्रैजेक्टरी है वो किस तरीके की होती है. फॉर अ सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर यू बिकम एन SD1, SD2, SD3, मुझे उसके आगे मुझे नहीं पता है. इवन एज अ करियर कोच आगे क्या होता है, लाइक हाउ डू यू गो अबव दैट? व्हाट इज द करियर ट्रैजेक्टरी लाइक इफ यू कंटिन्यू वर्किंग इन अ कंपनी?
So after SG1, SG2, SG3, either you can become a manager. That's one path if you want to go to the managerial side. Otherwise, there are like...
So you manage software engineers then?
So you have a manager. Whenever you are working in any company, you have a manager on top of you,
right,
who is giving you tasks, who is like seeing कि काम हो रहा है कि
और उसके ऊपर क्या फिर?
उसके ऊपर उनका manager. Like it's a full hierarchy.
Hierarchy है पूरी.
Exactly.
क्या आप VP भी बनोगे?
Exactly. Yes. So you can become a VP, you can even become a CEO. तो वो same trajectory से ही जाता है. But it start with SG1, SG2, SG3. Then you have principal software engineers, or you can call them staff software engineers.
I think naming थोड़ी different होगी in different companies.
Exactly. But after SG3, it's principal or staff. So that you need at least 10 to 15 years of experience. People can become पहले भी like come, but फिर उन्होंने कुछ बहुत ही तगड़ा काम करना चाहिए या फिर कुछ crazy कर रखा है. But generally 15 years is something when someone becomes that. उसके बाद फिर it's director of engineering, or then you become VP. So इस तरीके से trajectory जाती है. But most of the people are mostly कि manager बन गए, उसके बाद they are कि like I'm satisfied, I'm not doing more.
And the thing is, it's like kind of a funnel, right? So you will have like 1,000 people at the base level and it keeps on decreasing. So most of the roles as you get senior are terminal roles as well, which means that once you reach that level, you can stay at that level without getting promoted for as many years as you are staying in the country, in the company.
Yeah.
But the people who are doing exceptionally well, then they have like directors, VPs, CEOs, CTOs. That ladder goes up. Yeah.
Also, there's a choice that all software engineers make at a point if you're good at it. One is do you want to manage people or not? There are people.
So you can choose not to.
Yes.
There
are people who choose to become core technical people who are called architects or
engineers.
So they will not be managing people. They will just be like architecting your system and just technical cheese. Because there are like I do know software engineers who are like कि मुझे लोगों से नहीं करना है. I will be a good architect or a good technical technical.
तो मतलब ये choice है लोगों के पास as you go.
So it depends from company to company and सब कुछ depend करता है. But most of the people like they do go on the managerial side कि people को manage कर रहे हैं and वो tech भी manage कर रहे होते हैं.
Because number of positions is also different. Like वो जो technical वाले लोग हैं वो कम होते हैं. Because उसके लिए तुम्हें experience
एकदम core फिर आप उसमें जा रहे हो.
Exactly. You need to be working on tech जो चल रहा है फिर जो company में है बहुत पहले से and you have idea about it.
Right.
Then you like become a principal or a architect or something like that. But manager वाला तो there are many people like Carreer लोग hire होते हैं. You need managers for them. अगर company grow करेगी तो managers के ऊपर you'll need more managers. So वो cycle repeat होती रहती है.
एंड वो थोड़ा सा वो भी होता है कि कुछ लोग जैसे मैनेजर बन गए तो सम पीपल कंप्लेन कि यार अब हमको कोड लिखने नहीं मिलता एंड फॉर सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स दैट इज सॉर्ट ऑफ सैड कि आपको कोड लिखने नहीं मिल रहा एंड आप पूरा उसमें चले जाते हो. अगर पूरा उसमें जा रहे हो तो आप लोगों से ज्यादा इंटरेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे. बट प्लस कंपनीज डोंट वांट यू टू बी इंडिविजुअल कंट्रीब्यूटर्स. जब आपको एक एक्सपीरियंस हो जाता है दे वांट यू टू बी एबल टू मैनेज अ टीम. भले ही आप उनका मे बी अप्रेजल वगैरह मत देखो. मतलब टेक्निकल लीड वर्सेस पीपल लीड भी कई कंपनीज में होता है कि आप भले ही उनका अप्रेजल वगैरह मत देखो बट उनका टेक्निकल उसमें आप गाइड करते रहो, हेल्प करते रहो. तो like different companies work in different ways.
Interesting.
Another question you asked was the salary ranges for
average ranges.
SD ones in. It's actually a very subjective question because we have service-based companies which are still offering 3-4 LPA today in India, and there are then startups and then there are MNCs. So if I have to talk about MNCs ka range for this year, I'm not pretty sure about the numbers, but I think somewhere around 20 to 30 LPA for a fresher.
Yeah. Who is decently doing well?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay.
Unicorn startups and MNCs might be offering this number.
Do you think
I think average is around 10-12, but people who can do well
are in the
MNC is 20.
Then
8 to 10.
Average, I think 8 to 10.
Yes.
You're talking about the bare minimum. 8 to 10.
Bare minimum is 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Is 3 to 4.
Yes.
Yes. A lot of software engineers and service-based companies are the companies.
Even today?
Yeah, even today, yeah.
And it is
they don't have any skill. So but TCS does is they have a centralized exam NQT करवाते हैं.
Correct.
They divide the profile into 3 categories. एक 5 LPA, एक 3 LPA, एक तुम्हारी 6 LPA, एक 11 LPA.
Correct.
So they have their structure. तो वहाँ पे भी TCS में you can get 11 as a starting salary.
ऐसे तो TCS में भी 11 की लग सकती है.
But भाई if you don't have any skill, if you can just solve problems, basic aptitude ठीक है तो they hire you and then they train you. So if you have zero skill, then it's good. फिर 3 से start करो
फिर तो then
if you have a skill, then it's different.
Upper ceiling level limit तो कुछ नहीं है ना.
I have seen 100K as well. Yeah. So.
A moment of silence.
But हाँ.
Okay, but what is the highest salary figure you have heard of from any of your friends, colleagues, bosses, or anybody you have worked with? Their annual package in this field. What's the highest? करोड़ों में ही होगी, I know, but फिर भी an average.
स्टॉक से ज्यादा होता है.
Yeah.
Like if you are
10, 15, 20 करोड़, 50 करोड़.
ये तो CTOs के इनकी.
नहीं, that is too high.
1.5.
CTOs वगैरह के होते हैं.
So annual
के तो होते होंगे 5-10 करोड़.
हाँ,
है ना? CTO का होता होगा.
Mostly component
stocks.
वो salary नहीं है obviously.
Highest I have heard is 3 CR per year CTC.
Okay, got it. Great. And when we talk about, since we're talking about money, can we know a little bit about what is the scope of making money as the tech content creator? When it comes to
when she was
your
talking
different
about
streams.
it, I wanted to mention something.
Yeah.
So when I was a content creator and I used to promote a lot of companies with courses, I used to actually make more with content creation. Then I started my own business. Now I can't promote them because it's
against what? It's a competition.
Yes. So,
आप क्यों करोगे?
You know, there are some YouTubers, I'll tell you. This is very interesting. A lot of people don't understand it. There are some YouTubers who are very famous कि यार ये तो free का पढ़ाता है, free, and then you see the kind of promotions they do. They actually earn like a lot more than they are doing in their full-time job.
I'm sure.
That is because promotions. People don't understand how promotions work. People really don't. Like log LinkedIn.
By the way, she's talking about brand collaborations.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Yeah. Log LinkedIn, Insta, YouTube, हर चीज के लिए people are getting paid. अगर किसी की साइट है ना आप कोई बटन देख रहे हो किसी और ब्रांड का, it is the person is earning a lot of money. तो जो लोग जैसे Nishant would also understand, I think when you started Algo Prep, you also stopped promoting, right? And I also stopped promoting. So that is
it was a conscious call, obviously, that you had to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, मतलब if you are doing your
own thing, then why?
Same category
में तो नहीं कर सकते.
Same category.
पर जब आप कर रहे थे, on an average, आप मुझे numbers मत दो. I'm not asking you for numbers. I'm trying to understand with, let's say, 100k subscribers on YouTube, 100k on LinkedIn, almost. If you are promoting any edtech startup ka course, for example, on an average, what is it that you can make in a month if you're a good quality standard content creator?
Yeah, it is very subjective. In a month, depends on the number of videos, number of posts. And the kind of engagement.
What could you start? What range could someone start with? Can you make at least 10,000 a month?
Yeah.
Aram se, na? So anybody can make at least 30,000 a month, I would say.
Cost per view वाला ही होता है, like same as YouTube pays,
CPV.
brands also have the CPV वाला thing. They'll pay you 0.5 to 1. If you have a brand value, they will be ready to pay you 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So same यही होता है, like everywhere you go, it totally depends on the average views you have and what's the brand budget.
Got it.
And if the category aligns, like 100% category align हो रहा है, फिर you can ask as you want.
हाँ. With Twitter, Khushboo, do you have any is the collaboration synergies and how it works slightly different, or have you done any collaboration?
It's pretty similar to the other platforms.
How do collaborations work on Twitter though?
You can write a thread for them, you can write a tweet for them, you can like their tweet, you can join their spaces. There's a lot of
Can you give me one example of any?
You can also write like a technical blog on certain companies' tech stack. So they'll just reach out on Twitter, but they might ask you to write a thread, or they might ask you to write some other thing, like make some other content that way.
Okay, got it.
Pretty similar in the
So I think irrespective of what platform you are on, I think you are saying that it is obviously there is a lot of potential and money there that is lying. If there is an alignment in the category of the brand that's coming to you, your knowledge and how you present it, and a base and a distribution that you have. वो तीनों obviously align.
It is not as easy as it sounds.
Exactly.
And the cities, tier, these things matter. Like if you have a tier 1 audience.
Okay, demographics भी matter
बहुत
करेंगे
matter
obviously.
करते हैं.
That's the first thing that
First
people
thing
ask for. Yeah.
Because if their
Insights, channel के insights.
age group नहीं वो क्या align कर रहा है, match नहीं कर रहा है, या फिर अगर उनका cities match नहीं कर रहे हैं. Like tier 2, tier 1 cities में people are ready to pay for things. But tier 3, tier 4 में जाके people are not ready to pay for things. So if your audience is mostly from tier 3, tier 4 cities, you will not get brand collabs. That is how it works. For any content, any type of content.
Even within India, outside India, right? Like if Khushboo has a lot of reach outside India, then why will an
Indian brand want to collaborate with Khushboo? Makes sense because उनके target audience ही match.
It's just an example.
And another thing that I would say is कि इसके two aspects हैं. जैसे if someone is considering a career between software engineering and content creation, they might think कि engineering has like a straight roadmap and you know कि what you will do by age 40. Content creation में you might not know, but you might ending up getting financially retired much earlier. So it's like totally a bet on your skills that you're taking.
But again, disclaimer, it happens for
very few.
It doesn't happen for everybody for sure. आप लोगों को क्या लगता है luck का कितना रोल होता है?
बहुत ज़्यादा.
Luck का तो रोल होता ही है. Consistency, luck, hard work, all these things matter. Keep putting yourself out there for 3 months, 4 months regularly.
It is like running a startup.
Yeah, it is a startup.
It is.
But I do feel like I personally also when I think about a lot of things, a lot of people are working equally hard as you, and I think that is true. Many people are. Everybody is trying to work hard, but there has to be some level of being at the right place at the right time and the right opportunity that you either access or they access you.
Likability का भी होता है. Like
some
people you relate more, some people you like more. वो बोलते कैसे हैं, वो दिखते कैसे हैं. Like
वो बहुत सारे factors.
It matters. Like how you look, how you talk. कि तुम जो फील दे रहे हो उनको, इट इज लाइक कि हाँ वो
रिलेटेबिलिटी और एक कनेक्ट
मेरा भाई है,
फेमस है, पता है
अब तो गाली पड़ती है बट या समथिंग लाइक दैट. तो वो कितना ज्यादा रिलेट कर पा रहे हैं, इट मैटर्स मोर देन एनीथिंग एल्स.
गॉट इट, अंडरस्टूड. एंड obviously we spoke about monetization as a creator, we spoke about the kind of scope you have to earn with respect to a trajectory as a software engineer also in the top companies. बहुत बातें कर ली ज्ञान की. Now I want to ask you one very philosophical question. ठीक है, when I go towards the end मैं थोड़ा ज्ञान extract करती हूँ लोगों से. So I ask this question to everybody. It's the most cliched and the most basic question, but it tells me a lot about how each individual is looking at life. So I'm sure all of you, when you made certain decisions, or I don't even know, you may be going through a very bad day today. I don't know. Or you may not be happy with certain aspects of your life. Like I am not happy about certain aspects of my life. You fail, you learn, and you succeed at certain things. But you're bound to fail and you're bound to succeed also. So today when you sit down, abhi jaise hum baithe hain aaj, as of now, what is your understanding of success? Not definition. What do you think of success as? Is it a feeling? Is it something that you associate with entire presence? Like, I just want to know individually from all of you, how do you perceive success today?
So, if you own your time, like if you can do whatever you want to do in your life, then I think that is success, and you're happy doing it. If you achieve that, then
that's success for you.
Success.
What about you,
Keerti? हटके नहीं पड़े हो. अगर मन है कि अभी फैमिली के साथ रहना है तो you can do it.
By time, you own your time.
Freedom है मतलब वो.
That is what matters.
But do you think आपके लिए definition was the same 3 years ago also? अगर मैं पूछती.
Not necessarily. So there's a time जब आप केवल career goals को ही success मानते हो. Eventually you realize there's no end to it. 10 LP, 20, 30, 1 CR, 20 CR.
College में तो it's like कि पैसे कमाने हैं.
Yes.
So
that's
अच्छी कंपनी में job.
A good company, then it's success.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like
but when you have decent savings, I think that is where your entire perspective changes. I think मेरा बहुत ही family के साथ कितना time spend करना है with my parents, because now that I have my own home in Bangalore, I prefer कि 1 or 2 months they come and stay with me, and I prefer कि मैं उनको आसपास घुमाऊँ, and I show them the world more than what they have seen. I take them to different countries, and मतलब मेरे लिए that is very very important now. So I think मेरी चीज़ें change हो गई, and a very like आपने starting में जो point कही थी, तो I deal with this very frequently because I'm a content creator and people look up to me. तो क्या होता है कि sometimes there's a lot of pressure कि people are continuously asking how you always motivated, even though I'm very transparent about it, I'm not always motivated.
Yeah, every day cannot, and every phase cannot be the same.
But I still cannot come on Insta and rant about it. I cannot say कि भाई मेरे से नहीं होगा. There are days जब चीजें नहीं चलती as you expect. There are still days, and you do feel very and you go sleep or you just take some time off. There are days like this, but then you have to, like, sometimes मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है कि my students will call me and I'm talking to them and उनको motivate करते करते मुझे motivation आने लगता है and I'm like okay, let's do this. So there are days like this also. So it's
it's a process.
Yes.
What about you, Khushboo? What are your thoughts on success?
I totally agree with her. Like, initially college में it was like a certain company में job लगना was the definition of success, but once you have a certain amount of corpus that you have collected, उसके बाद things start to change and you don't start attributing success to just career, right? There's like a whole horizon of things that go around you. For instance, my father has been struggling with some health issues, so मेरे लिए now it's like, can I be there for him when he needs me? So those kind of things. And also, if I'm doing better than I was doing yesterday in terms of being confident, being out of my comfort zone, doing things that used to intimidate me, that is success. So for example, I recently took a flight from New York to India all by myself, and I was like, at one point I was afraid to move to a different city within India, and today I am traveling around the world by myself. So doing things that I once used to intimidate me, or I used to feel like maybe I can't do this, and doing that consistently over years, over months, that is success.
That's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's lovely, and I like what you said, because I feel when you challenge your own limitations, and because I think most of the times हम अपने आप के सबसे बड़े, what do you call it, like a roadblock हो जाते हैं, or you have that mental block in your head that probably can I do this, But when you go ahead and challenge that and you do it, is when you realize what the world is like beyond that point, right? And I think that is obviously a great way to look at success as well, because it's personally a big win that I can do this too. I think with that, one last question before we move to the rapid fire round. I have a quick rapid fire for all of you as well, which will be your first multi rapid fire round. I don't know how we'll do it. But yes, I want to quickly understand from the three of you that हमने obviously skills के बारे में और career success के बारे में बहुत बात की. But मुझे एक चीज़ जाननी है कि what is that one learning that you have had, could be through your experiences या किसी ने आपको बताया, मैं advice या tip learning जो बुलाना है उसको बुला लो, that you think has stuck by you and has helped you reach where you are. It's been transformative for you. That one learning, that one thing you heard somewhere, you read somewhere, or you applied. And that is a major contributor to at least your individual journey. If you can share that with the audience.
So, I like Steve Jobs का वाला quote जिसमें he says ना कि you can't connect the dots looking
forward. You have to always connect them backwards.
तो वो I have been living by that कि मतलब try करके देखो. You never know where you'll reach after some time. And if you don't try, then तो पक्का नहीं कहीं जा पाओगे. So yeah, that's the quote, that's the learning I have had in the last 5-6 years after like school. School तक में तो कुछ सीखते नहीं है खास. College, corporate has taught me this कि ठीक है कर लो. क्या ही होगा? Fail हो जाओगे. Then you can start again.
Nice.
So,
for me, it has been 10 seconds of insane courage and your life will be completely different. And मैंने क्योंकि बहुत सारे ऐसे डिसीजन लिए, चाहे वो Atlassian छोड़ना हो, चाहे Intuit छोड़ना हो, I never had backups, चाहे वो CS के लिए, jobs के लिए बैठना हो, मतलब a lot of times I go like कि क्या ही हो जाएगा, what is the worst that will happen, करते हैं. I think बहुत courage लगती है, मैं ही खुद हो जाती हूँ कि भाई कैसे, but ठीक है. I think वो 10 seconds का decision कि डाल देते resignation, देखेंगे.
10 seconds. This is a good one. Okay.
For me, something my founder recently tweeted, so he said that talent will take you very, very far, but perseverance will take you in places you didn't even imagine. So just keep doing every single day. So I think that
consistently keeping at it.
Yet anything will eventually make you succeed or make you realize that that thing is not for you. So win-win.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. Great. And I think if we didn't have a deadline, though, I could have kept going on and I had a lot of questions and I would have kept asking them. But yes, obviously, while we come to the end of the conversation, I have a quick rapid fire. And this will be very fun, very spontaneous. Whatever is the first thought, first word, first line that comes to your mind, we'll go in the order Nishant, Keerti and Khushboo for each question, just for the sake of simplicity. Okay? And just, be yourself, ekdam natural. So I think the first question that I want to ask the three of you is, the first one is, I want to know that what is the most expensive purchase that you've made so far?
Car.
Okay. Car.
MacBook Pro.
MacBook Pro. Okay. Second thing, what is the silliest financial mistake that you have made?
I have not done enough mistakes or financial decisions.
नहीं हुए हैं. कुछ भी नहीं.
So I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly.
कोई भी silly financial mistake जो आपने की हो, could be a personal one, could be with respect to the company जहाँ आपको लगा हो that I could have done this better.
I think there are a lot of collaborations where I haven't,
Okay.
say, but so a lot of times it
Negotiations.
Negotiations. But I've learned.
You've learned.
For me, I started investing pretty late. I could have started much earlier.
I want to add on to this. I also started pretty late, I feel.
I started day one. My father was like,
Day one?
Like when I started
Salary,
earning.
No, I didn't. I started a year after earning.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
मेरा percentage was fixed and इतना चला गया दूसरे अकाउंट में, अब इससे चलाना है.
इतना तो नहीं था मेरा.
इतना था कि पहले ही हालत खराब हो जाए
पर चलाना है. Wow.
But yeah, I like पहले तो Microsoft salary में से ESPP करता था.
हाँ.
25% directly was saving.
Yeah.
Then फिर और जो चीजें होती हैं SIP ये वो तो.
Nice. Great. Okay. The third question is that I want you to share one person. Could be a family member, could be a colleague, could be somebody legendary, living or dead also, who you really look up to and you've learned a lot from. A mentor figure, somebody who you look at as an aspirational person.
There's so many people. Like
कोई एक जो सबसे पहला mind में आता है.
Nikhil Kamath.
Okay. Why? Nikhil?
Like
what do you like about him?
मतलब they have built a really good startup from the
bootstrapped.
सब कुछ अच्छा किया है. And like physique wise, health wise,
yeah, everything.
So everything is like on point.
The podcast also, यार, I love
काम करना है, जब मजे करने हैं, like you can see that.
Yeah.
तो वो.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very hard to take a name, extremely hard, but I don't know, somehow I really look up to Priyanka Chopra,
I love her. Yeah. She's a boss lady.
Yes. Yeah. That.
I think I look up to Satya Nadella because when he joined Microsoft, he changed a lot of things at the leadership level, and to do that at that scale is pretty challenging and courageous. So,
Very interesting. ये जो next question है वो बहुत interesting है क्योंकि इससे बहुत सारी imaginary dinner table conversations spark होंगी. मतलब आपको समझ में आएगा. If I give you an option, मतलब I give you this opportunity hypothetically that you can have a round table dinner conversation with any 3 people, living or dead, who would you invite and why? Like you have a chance to have a 2-hour dinner with them.
Very tough.
Very tough, yeah.
For me, it would be, I think, the CEOs and CTOs of top profitable
कौन से 3
companies.
पर लोग होंगे?
Maybe Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and maybe Sundar Pichai.
वाह, मतलब सुंदर पिचाई, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg तीनों को एक टेबल पे बिठा
Yes.
दोगे.
Different people, like
Yeah,
Sundar Pichai and maybe like Obama.
Oh, okay.
And Michelle Obama and maybe I don't know, very very different people, and like so that I understand.
I think Ratan Tata, Nikhil Kamath, and Steve Jobs. Amazing.
Great. Wonderful. Okay, the last question of the rapid fire round for you is, what is that one skill according to all of you that irrespective of what you want to do in life is essential to master in life?
Staying positive. Like.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Optimism.
Yeah, optimism.
That, communication skills and hard work.
Being humble.
That's also very important, actually. When you say being humble, do you also mean, in a way, being content with where you are?
No, I just mean that irrespective of what level you achieve in life, you need
Stay grounded.
Yeah, stay grounded.
Yeah, that's very important. I agree. I think most of the people are not able to do that after a certain stage because it can get very difficult and you can get carried away by a lot of things. But I think, thank you so much, Nishant, Keerti, and Khushboo. It's been a wonderful conversation. I've gotten to know so much more about your personal lives, your journeys, how you guys have come to the stage where you are at in your career, and personally also different things. I'm sure जो भी लोग इस वीडियो को इस पॉइंट तक देख रहे हैं, there is so much that you would have learned from each of their personal journeys and cumulatively. And obviously, before we come to the end of the conversation, I hope the 3 of you had a great time. Thank you so much for coming down. And it was lovely interacting with the 3 of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. And we will be linking Nishant's, Keerti's, and Khushboo's social media links, all of them in the description. So definitely do check them out. That is it for this episode. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Dhairya Decodes channel. Thank you.